I'm in Palmyra, Pennsylvania, near Hershey, Pennsylvania, at the Goodwill. Come thrift with me. I'm going to find real bargains on the road. Let's get into the glass aisle, see what we can find. So, basically, I'm on this top shelf for these guys. Let me move some of these things out of the way. Fostoria, I told you about the cubes. You know, that you can actually feel the cubes, this shape that reflects Fostoria pieces. This is a nice big Fostoria pitcher. A lot of people collect Fostoria. It's been around, of course, very popular after World War II. And this piece, let's see how much this piece is. Yeah, I need two hands for this. Oh, they're not going to tell me. And $2.99. $2.99. So, I mean, that's really underpriced. That's very, very low. So I would say value on that piece, you're definitely looking at $55 on that piece. That's really nice. And of course, you can sell it on all different platforms. You know, I don't just stand here and go, oh, it's selling for this on this one platform. It's selling for that. I want you to know what the full market will actually command for these particular pieces. So here's behind the scenes of what happened when we're filming. So I talk about this, I'm talking for you guys, I'm explaining the whole thing. And I walk on, I'm talking about some other stuff, and a guy comes in who didn't hear me, didn't know what I was talking about or doing, didn't hear me, and he takes this and he puts it into his cart. So we needed a picture for you guys. So I said, hey, do you mind if I take a picture quickly? I understand you want to buy this, but can I take a picture, you know, before you buy it? And he goes, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. So in the meantime, he's on his phone, and we're taking the pictures for you, getting the details and all. And he's on his phone, and he said, oh, you know, he said in the time that you were taking the pictures, I decided I'm going to put it back, because I gave it back to him because I thought he wanted to buy it. So he says, no, I don't want to buy it because I'm a reseller. And I looked it up, and now I know it's not really worth it. So we all know what happened there. He looked it up in one place, he thinks that's the whole market, and guess what happens? What happens is he just lost out on a lot of money for this particular piece because didn't follow what I was saying. So you got to look at the whole market and not just look it up in one place. So, you know, he's off, he's going to lose this, and you guys are going to get it. Anything that has to do with barware, I talk about barware a lot. This piece, no, maybe, no, but this is nice. It's not crystal, so don't get all excited, it's crystal. But it is a good size, it's a good shape, and you know, it's got the right, this is what you look for, okay? You look at that form right there. That's a nice piece. I don't know if this is really expensive, $4.99, so that's good, because you can definitely get 45 bucks for this. So that I would say, great piece of glass, get it, gotta be clean, but good. So that's a good one. And remember, I leave everything here for you. I'm not competing with you. You know, we have permission to be here, and I want to make sure that you know what's valuable when you're in these places. Okay, so that's a good one. I like that. I always try to look for something, you know, vintage if we have a chance. Here's vintage right here. Vintage, vintage, vintage. So these are vintage. These are the 60s. You can, tape the whole thing. You can kind of see the starburst here. These, I'll show it to you better. See the starburst? And it is really taped, but basically large celery dish and a condiment dish. So olives and maybe, you know, fruit and nuts or olives and cheese or something like that. But for all of them, it's $4, so $2 each is good for these. They are pressed glass. They're trying to look like American Brilliant cut, right, with the deep cuts, but it's not with the deep cuts. These are nice, desirable, very, very smooth edged. You're always looking for a sawtooth, but you're looking for a sharp edge. This is a smooth edge, but really nice, in good shape, durable. So this is going to be good. For $4, $3.99, you're probably going to get 30 bucks. So 15 each is good for these. So I would say, sure, why not with those? But they're vintage, so you want to look for old, and that's one of the ways you're going to tell older. This piece I think is great. Why? It's big. I'll put it here. It's big by, of course, diameter. This is silver stenciled. So people will think that's not really silver. It's really silver. It's really silver stenciled. It's a big piece. It's footed. When you see the feet are something that a lot of people look for. You can see that it's a stencil. See, it actually is stenciled and then it's applied here. So that's a nice piece. I like that. And the feet are nice, and the feet have little lines in them, which is typical also of the 1960s. So, you know, you're looking at some age in that particular piece. And of course, the size of this piece and the condition of this piece is what make it of interest. So value on that piece is going to go around $50 if you were to buy it here and sell it online. So vintage, vintage, vintage. This was vintage. My mother used to make deviled eggs. She made them all the time. She was big on eggs. Eggs are cheaper, right? So it was kind of a good like specialty kind of thing. But deviled eggs, and these deviled egg dishes with the hobnail. A lot of people look for these. Now again, they're glass. Make sure you get the ones with the hobnail for the eggs too. $4.99 is a little bit high because the plate is probably only worth $18. But I would still say that that's a nice one, and it brings back a nice memory for me. Actually, there's more vintage right here. I kind of hit the vintage row. Pyrex, always good, durable. Talk about it a lot. I won't waste too much time on it. Here's a nice piece too, heavy. See the side, the weight of that, heavy. With again, more, this is silver plate, but more silver here. All the 1960s, which helps you to identify it. It was really big in the 1960s to have the silver as sort of a decorative element on pieces of glass. Not so much on crystal, but on pieces of glass. So I like all of that. Now, how much was this? Let me see. This thing is heavy. So, and look at what a nice design it has on the interior. So $4.99, it's pretty big. You know, I like the design here. It kind of looks like big tall flowers. So that I like. The design on the side is good too. It's $4.99, and I would say it's probably within the $35 range. You know, $32, $35. So I'd still say that's a pretty good deal. So that's a vintage, 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 vintage. Probably take the whole row of those. But if you look up here, you know which ones to get rid of, right? So, you know, maybe you like pumpkins. Okay, that's fine. That's kind of desirable. That's kind of just decorative. You know, maybe you like an owl, so owls are just fine. The Samuel Adams logo, maybe you like that. Maybe you like the salt and pepper shakers, the old-fashioned look. But this is the piece that you want. And if you look at the other ones with it, you can see how much better it is. First of all, it is cloudy and it is dirty, okay. But the reason it's cloudy and dirty is somebody did use it for a vase. This can be cleaned. So, and oftentimes when it looks like that, it's actually pretty low priced. Yeah, see, $2.99. You know, a lot of the times they figure, oh, you know, it's dirty and people are going to not want it because it's dirty, but this is really relatively easy to clean. And when you put it up next to this one, you can see that this is crystal and this is not. Very, very thin, lightweight, heavy, right? So clarity is also important. So I would say this is really a nice piece. For $2.99, you're easily going to get about $60 out of that. That's nice. It's actually made in Ireland. It's a nice piece. It's nicely cut. It's a good size. It's not so big, right? Some of these vases are really big. That's a good piece. So you get your vintage shot and you've got this piece. So I like that piece a lot. This can come off. Usually white vinegar can do it, but again, you know, I'm not a restorer, so I don't give that kind of advice. But a lot of you have had success, of course, cleaning these up. I think the reason why this is $2.99 is someone said, it's dirty, and they don't want something that's dirty. So it's cut in this pineapple pattern, which is pretty popular. It's obviously heavy in crystal. Look at how thick it is. The thickness will help you with respect to whether or not you have a piece of crystal. So that's another thing you want to think about. Don't be dissuaded by the dirt. Just make sure that it's the kind of dirt that you can get rid of, that you can clean up, that it's not some kind of damage. But that's a nice piece. I like that piece a lot. So we'll put that down there for the moment. And you can see, of course, a really good price on that. Or some of them are not a really good price, but that one's a good price. So well, this is a really nice piece of crystal. Of course, as you know, I find the good things and I leave them here for you. So that goes back up here. So come and get it. Come and find it. Well, these are always nice. I know a lot of people aren't eating celery anymore. This one's a little bit scratched, but this is a nice sawtooth, same order, decorative etched here, glass, serving bowl, you know, nice piece. $2.99, that's a good price for this. It's probably worth 5 times that, right? So that's not a bad piece. So 3 times 5 is 15, it's probably worth about 15. That dates also to the 1960s, 1970s. Pyrex mixing, measuring cup. So Pyrex is good only because it's a good name, but that's new. You know, that's within the last 15 years or so. A lot of people collect ball jars, mason jars, canning jars. And whenever I see a ball jar, I remember this guy was at one of my events and started screaming at me because he thought he had the first ball jar because his ball jar said 1858 on it, right? Well, I had to tell him that the Ball Company, his piece wasn't from 1858. The Ball Company was established in 1858. So he was like, no, no, it's the first one. I'm like, they all say that from that time period anyway. So the early ones are from, of course, they say 1858, and some of the new ones also say that. So if you find one, this one is actually a very new one. You can tell not from this side where it says Ball Mason jar, but from this other side, which has fruit on it. I don't know if you see the grapes and the fruit, but basically because it's for canning. So they have the image on it here. The other piece I like is this piece. Of course, the graduated prints are really nice on the stem. The problem with this is there's only one. It is rather inexpensive at $1.99. It is crystal. It's got the thumbprints all the way through, but it's a very small cordial glass. While it is 3 times what the price is, you know, you really need to have at least 2. So I would probably pass that one by. But that, I'm going to leave here for you. One of you, I hope, finds it behind me. Well, we've got a broken wheel with all dust in it. We might have to change the cart because this one is kind of hard for it to move when it has that much dust in it. Kind of looks like parts of my house. What else is there? Oh, little etched crystal paperweights. This is crystal. Do you see the tower? You see what's called lamp work inside? Really nice, heavy crystal paperweight. These are the kinds of corporate giveaways people tend to have. That's a really nice piece. Let's see how much this is. $3.99. A little bit high, but that's definitely a $25, $30 piece. And then this one right next to it. So maybe they came together. Roma, the Colosseum, the Colosseo. So basically, it looks like there's the box that it originally came in. These are typical giveaways, but I have to say these are pretty nice. You're probably going to see like 35, maybe 40, but I would see definitely $35 for both of them. I like those though. I like the workmanship inside. I like that they're crystal. I'm looking for more treasures. Let's see what else we got. No, no, no. No, no, no. Huh. There you go. $2.99. It's a collectible boot. All right. Nice. How do we know, how old is it? The 1940s. Let me move this out of the way. The 1940s, $2.99, that's pretty good. How do you know it's the 40s? Well, first of all, this bump in the boot and stippling, that's the bumpy. When you feel all the bumpiness on this, these are pretty desirable and collectible. They're collectible way early, like boots like this are usually equated to prosperity. Somebody has boots or shoes and they have money. That's basically what it is. That's why brides will put money in their shoes kind of thing. So that's what you're looking at here. But this particular one's from like the 40s. And it's in pretty good shape. A little dirty, but it could be cleaned up. For $2.99, so for $3, you're probably going to get probably $16. So it's not a great flip, but it's an old piece if you like old pieces. Let me show you the back. You can see where the buttons. Look at the buttons. I like the buttons. But it's the stippling pattern on the whole piece that you're seeing. So that's what you look for if you're trying to identify if it's from the 1940s. Well, there you go. Nice. So, all right, so that's the boot. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Well, maybe I could put some of this on that age spot I keep talking about. Well, it was like my mother's, that dark spot on my face. Maybe this will help. Well, everything and anything here. Okay, well, I don't think I'm going to put that on my face. You know, these are from Hallmark. They're the cups. You know, 1 cup, a quarter cup, a half cup, all the cups. You know, not bad. Here's the mark. Kind of functional if you're a baker and you like to have ceramic. But again, I'm not crazy about that in terms of quality. Not very high quality. Mugs from the local school. This is Franklin Marshall, one of the colleges in this neck of the woods, Lancaster. And then we've got some old. These two are old. These 2 pieces are old. They have some age. But again, you really would like to have the full set if you can. $4.99 is what they want for this. And when you do this, it gives you a good idea. Look at the crazing, see the lines? So you probably want to keep it here, leave it here, not too valuable because of those lines called crazing. So when you see those lines, that's damage, that's not age. And this one is a W.S. George, the Astor pattern. It's okay. I mean, it's pretty nice. It's again, post-war, you know, 1950s or so. So it got some age, but this is all brown. It's supposed to be the white color. It's all brown because, see, you notice the same pattern. This was probably stored above the oven. And basically it turned brown because the color, actually the heat got underneath the glaze. So it should look like this, but it looks like this. So this is really not worth it. So both of those I would leave there, even though they are old, even though they have some vintage value, not enough to make a difference. Not at that price. No, when you pick it up, it doesn't have much weight. Unmarked, this is transferware, so that's when they put like the piece of wallpaper on it, and then they just glaze over it, and they kind of stick it everywhere. And then the big, huge chip. So you really want to leave this here. You ready? I can't do it. Sorry, I tried. Stay tuned, there's more videos to come from Palmyra, Pennsylvania. Thrift with me.